Ata yuwa lahenu melech olam, asher kitchanu, b'mitzvotav v'tzmeanu, lishmoa kol shofar. Blessed are you, Yahuwah our Elohim, King of the universe, who have sanctified us by your commandments and calls us to hear the voice of the shofar. Again. Hallelujah. All praises to our King. Let us all sing the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, Malkato, Leolam Vaed. Amen. Hear Israel, Yahuwah our Elohim is one. Blessed be the name of Yahuwah, whose glorious kingdom is forever. Hallelujah. Sirach 18:23 reminds us, and it says, before thou prayest, prepare thyself, and be not as one that tempteth Yahuwah. We'll ask Elder to render today's tefillah as we all face towards Jerusalem, the city of our King. Hallelujah.
Our gracious and eternal Father in heaven, we want to say thanks to you again for sparing our lives during the hours of the night. Thank you again for blessing us to see this another blessed and holy Shabbat day. As we come together, your children from the four corners of the earth, we want to say thanks again for gathering us. We pray, Holy Father, that thou may bless the service today. Thou may speak to the teacher, speak through him, speak for him, and bless the words to our hearts and mind, that as we hear the words, we'll say thank you. Guide us and protect us. Any sick, we pray, dear Father, thou may touch their bodies, that they all may receive healing, and your name will be praised forever and ever. Bless us all and guide us as we continue to worship and to praise you, Father. Give us a good Shabbat day today, because we ask it through your Son. Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debt, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
All praises to our King. Thank you, Elder. We give all praises to our Elohim for his love and his mercy, which endures forever. And we thank him that he has called us out of darkness, as Kepha said, into his marvelous light. Today we are here to study the word of the Most High, and our class is called Head of Household, Understanding Biblical Near Eastern Culture. This is going to be a part one of our study. I think that we have a lot of information to really go through. We cover different aspects of the culture, which I believe is very important. We will continue to go back into our Torah studies, which is the fabric of the Torah itself, the branches of the Torah, where we're able to see everything, how it's all connected. And this is how we will be able to better understand our culture. In today's class, I wanted to utilize a particular book, which I will show you all in a moment, so that we can have some clarity with regards to how things were done in ancient times. This particular subject, again, is one that I believe has been lost. The way, the culture, the way that we used to do things have been, for the most part, lost. We are living in a time where we can see culture has been eroded and destroyed. Most recently in the news, I saw an African country that has now opened the doors for Sodom lifestyle. And this is by design. It's part of the chess game that the international wicked ones are doing. They know that Africa is a stronghold, and also, for the most part, even the Middle East is a very difficult place to crack. They know Africa has a multitude of resources, and there's an agenda to do what we call a genocide. They've been trying to wipe out the people through wars and famines and all types of different means of warfare, biological, physical, you name it, economic. Now they're trying to subdue the people through a different type of slavery, which is economic, by giving them loans and pulling the plug on the help so that they will fall into debt and default into becoming slaves or servants. They know that there are many countries in Africa, because Africa is not all one people. They're all different tribes and families and kindreds and you name it, different languages, bloodlines, you name it, in Africa. But for the most part, because the people have a very strong culture as far as the way families are structured and so forth, the Western civilization, international wickedness, have been trying to find a way in there. And once they find one country who will give in to this wicked ideology, now they can start to work their way into the rest of Africa and to destroy it. Everything that they have been doing have been destructive to civilization on a whole. But our Heavenly Father knows that the writing is already on the wall. The days are numbered for these nations. He has to allow certain things to happen. There is a season, there's a time, and then he's going to destroy these nations or subdue these nations under his fifth kingdom. This is the kingdom which is stone cut without hands. And so we're waiting for that time that our Elohim will return and bring justice on this earth. This particular subject, again, is one that I find very difficult for many to apprehend or to even swallow. When I go into filing taxes, there's a category that is still there. It's called head of household. And we can see that even the tax code is keeping a relic of past time. They're still keeping a term that is, I guess, it's just a name only. It's not something that is quite has the force as it did before. Our civilization is based on law. It's structured on law. But the laws that built civilization, is it still in place today? When we look at the term head of household, who does it really apply to? What is the strength behind it? What is the force? Well, let's get into our subject. Let's see if we can gain some understanding. Normally, we would always use the scriptures to teach, and we will be using scriptures in the Bible to teach. But when we talk about scriptures alone, we always get pushback. People get offended, people get upset, they don't like it so much, and so forth. And I'm not putting out this class to satisfy anyone, and I'm not putting out this class that you will accept it or reject it. It doesn't matter. The word of the Most High is not going to return void. I have to put out the classes to show how far we have fallen and to show what has happened in time past. On the screen, you can see a picture of a chair. The chair was a symbol of authority. Who sits in that chair is the one who basically rules over the house. The house itself is a small microcosm or a small picture of a much greater society. Households join one with another, forms societies, and societies build nations. And therefore, with nations, when you have multitude of nations, you need to have governors, rulers, monarchies, kings, and such like and such like. And the same power that exists on the throne can find its way all the way back down to the household. It can find its way back to the household. So we are doing part one of this topic, and we will go as far as we can with it today. And we'll continue on until we have exhausted it, get as much as we can out of it. So let's begin. The ancient Near East and legal history. The ancient Near East is thus home to the world's oldest known law, predating by far the earliest legal records of other ancient civilizations such as India or China. So the Near East predates all other ancient civilizations. Our laws that we use here in America and throughout Europe and such like, the structure of it is based on ancient Near Eastern legal systems. Okay? The ancient Near East also has the distinction of being the cradle of two great modern Western legal systems, the common law and the civil law, and in consequence of modern law in general. Its influence has left few visible traces apart from the Hebrew Bible, the one relic that survived the collapse of its constituent civilization and whose hold on the minds of Western lawmakers continues to this day. Basically, the Bible, or what we call the scriptures, is the only remnant of the true ways of ancient Near East law and culture. On the screen again, you can see a man with a beard, and he's sitting on a chair. He has two objects in his hand. He has a staff. He has a staff, and he also has what is that? A flower. You see the flower? The flower itself is a symbol of power. It's also a symbol of authority. And this is where today we have the Most High said to Israel that they should put flowers on their garment. Do you know what it's called? It's called a tzitzit. It's a sign of law, authority, power. We will go into tzitzits at another time. The map that you see on the screen here, for the most part, shows the areas that is called in that square. It's the area that we call today the ancient Near East regions. You can see where parts of Egypt is included in there. You can see definitely Jerusalem, Israel. You have Nineveh to the north, where you see Assyria. Then you have Babylon in the middle. You have parts of the Persian Empire. and then it touches into India just a little bit. As you pass India, or the middle part of India, and you continue going eastward, that is the Far East. But at the border where India is, to where Israel is, to the southern region of Turkey, where Syria is located, and then when you go into Egypt, that was basically where most of the ancient Near Eastern culture reside. This is also where you find the Shemitic and the Hamitic people intermingling with each other. All right? So when we read the book of Genesis, for example, it speaks about Abraham coming out from Ur of Chaldea, or Chaldees. And Ur, if you read Genesis chapter 10, you will see that Nimrod, the beginning of his kingdom, Genesis 10 and verses 9. Can you get that for me and read it? We'll be pulling stuff up on the screen so everyone can see it. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and do it now.
Genesis 10, verse 9. He was a mighty hunter before Yahuwah. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod the mighty hunter before Yah. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Out of that land went forth Asher, and builded Nineveh, and the city of Rehoboth, and Calah. And Resen between Nineveh and Calah, the same is a great city. And Mizraim begat Ludim, and Anamim, and Lehabim, and Nephtuhim, and Pathrusim, and Casluhim, out of whom came Philistim, and Caphtorim, and Canaan begat Sidon.
No, that's good. You can stop there. Go over to chapter 11 now, and let us read verses 1. We'll start from 1.
Genesis 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar.
Okay. So in Genesis chapter 10, we see that Ham, or Cush, or Nimrod, who came out from the Hamitic people, established cities and so forth, and one of it was called Shinar, right? That was all the way where we call today Iraq. So on the screen, you can see Babylon, Mesopotamia, Susa, and whatnot. That particular region is where Nimrod had occupied. Now, if you continue down to verses 27, skip on down to verses 27.
Verse 27. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees.
All right, that's all we need. So Ur, again, is where Abraham came out from. He was born amongst the same people that the world called today the black race, or the people of Ham. Now remember that Abraham was Shemitic. So in ancient Near East, the peoples who populated that region that we see on the screen here were basically Shemitic and Hamitic people. The Japhetic people were in Europe and other places of the world, okay? But for the most part, what we're studying is a culture that the Hamitic people and the Shemitic people were familiar with, okay? All right, so let's move along. The study that we are looking at, we will see that is basically a patriarchal system. And what does patriarchal mean? Anyone knows? Patriarchal. What does it mean? Patriarch.
Fathers.
It's based on what?
Ancient fathers.
The fathers, headed by the fathers. That's correct. It's the fathers that is the one who runs the system. He's the one who's the head. The males are the ones who are the heads. So today in our world, do we find this to be true in Western society? Is it based on the system headed by the males? It's actually a mixture. You can find some of that in existence, and we can find that it's a mixture of everything, because you have people who come from the ancient civilizations, those areas, Arabia, some parts of Africa, the same places that we just shown on the screen. There are many people who leave from those places and come to America, come to Europe, come to the West, and are still practicing, for the most part, these systems. However, as time progresses, they find themselves battling against Western civilization. And their children are raised with a new mindset, for the most part, that erodes the foundation that their parents had before. And we are seeing the results of a system that is completely contrary to what was set up before in past time. In our Western civilization, there is a huge problem with the system headed by fathers or males. There's a lot of pushback. People do not like it. They are upset. It's very highly offensive to a lot of people. And they say, we don't need, that system is done away with. We don't need to live in that system any longer. But the question is, what is the, let me ask this question. What is the major religion here in the West? Pretty much the world, but the West.
Catholicism.
It's the Catholic system, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Has there been any, I've heard certain things in history, but have there been any females ruling as popes at all?
No.
Okay, there have been some rumors about one or two females that, sat on the papal throne for a minute, but 99.9% of those who have sit on the papacy have been males. Is that correct? Okay. Also, we find in European money system, in almost all cases, it is headed by old systems of a patriarchal system. If you go and look into a lot of the research about some of the Rothschilds and some of the other people who have ruled, who controls the money, passing the money down, it's mainly done through the ancient systems of the patriarchs and so forth. Watch some of these movies, and you're going to see how the money flows. All right? Okay. Let's move on. Lost Near Eastern practice. Are we the children of Abraham? When I was a child, there used to be a song that was sung, or a little chorus. Father Abraham has many
Sons.
Many what?
Sons.
Many daughters?
No, sons.
Did you ever hear it said many daughters?
No.
Father Abraham has many sons. Many sons have Father Abraham. and we're one of them, and so am I, and so forth. The song is normally sung, but the understanding is far from the song itself. There are many who agree that we are Hebrews and we all came from the seed of Abraham. But when it comes to the ways and the practices that Abraham lived, you're going to find that no one wants to go back to that any longer. If Abraham had to come back from the dead today, the Most High says, I'm going to resurrect Abraham just so you can see what's happening. He might get a heart attack.
Take me back quickly.
Abraham would probably look like a bum. You ever seen those people trying to catch a train and they're lost? They're like, I'm kind of lost. Can you help me? I don't know what train to catch. I need to go here and or so forth. Like a person that really is just like lost. He'll do somewhat, Elder? I don't know about that. I think Abraham would have been lost. I really believe so. Let's read the book of Genesis 18 to 19. Let's see what the Bible says.
Genesis 18, verse 18 to 19. Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation.
It says Abraham, not Jacob, not Isaac. It says Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation. Read.
And all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him.
Mm-hmm.
For I know him.
The Most High says, I know Abraham.
That he will command his children and his household after him. And they shall keep the way of Yahuwah to do justice and judgment, that Yahuwah may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him.
Do you know that this is near impossible to do today? Any male who wants to go back and practice the ways of Abraham will find himself hanging high. They're going to find themselves in a lot of problem. I'm going to say the majority of males will find themselves in a slew of problems. You might have a war for about, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year. You might find yourself being served divorce papers. You might find a posse being raised against you. You may find people saying and call you a cult. I mean, there will be a whole number of things that will happen being said. Remember, the Bible is saying Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation. How is that going to happen? Ask the question. How is that possible? How do men become mighty nations? They do it by themselves? Obedience to themselves? Kindreds, children, households. There's a reason why the title is called Head of Household. The head is the one to hold the house. So we have to ask ourselves the question, who is the head of the household? I doubt we'll get a straight answer on that from everyone. Who is really the head of the household? If you want to do a litmus test, if you really want to prove it one of these days and you'll find out who's the head of the house. If you get in an argument, you're not the head of the house. If no one doesn't want to talk to you anymore, you're not the head of the house. If you say, let's go, you're not coming, not following you, you're not the head of the house. If you open the door and they close it, you're not the head of the house. There's a whole lot of things you can look at as a litmus test to prove whether you are truly head of household or not. Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation. And all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. Question. For I know him that he will command his children. Now, wait a minute. At that particular time, as far as the word plural children is concerned, that didn't happen yet, right? Children. And his household. That means that Abraham was the one in charge of the house. He was the one holding the house. He was the keeper of the house. He was the one who had the authority over the house. It wasn't the other way around. And also, one of the things that this particular class is going to do is going to prove that most of us are Christians. We're not Hebrews. Most of us are Christians, not Hebrews. And you must look in the mirror and admit that, because the culture of the Hebrews will expose your mindset, your thinking, your ideology, your heart. It will reveal a lot of stuff. I know for myself speaking, when the question of head of household was put on the table, my own house got rocked, got shook up. And this is just an example that we find in every single male household, because it's not something that is easy to go into. This is why this particular subject is considered to be a third rail, and most people avoid it because it is a capsule of many things inside of this capsule. As we go into the study with head of household from the ancient Near Eastern culture, you would see there's a lot of different things that's inside of this capsule. It is what forms society, civilization. The Bible says, the way of the Lord, and they shall keep the way of Yahuwah to do justice and judgment, that Yahuwah may bring upon everybody else. It didn't say that. It says, bring upon Abraham that which he have spoken of him. The Most High made a contract directly with the head of household. He didn't make the contract with the other people in a household. He made it with Abraham. Everything went through Abraham. If we are supposed to be replicas of Abraham, then we shouldn't have problems today. But again, because of being raised in this Western civilization, we have a lot of problems. Isn't it ironic that we live in a Western society whose future Messiah will be governing them by ancient Near Eastern laws? Think about that. Remember I asked the question, who's in charge of the Western religion? Who's the head of that? And we said it was the Pope, right? And the Catholic Church believe in Jesus Christ. So if they believe in Jesus Christ, we go into the prophets, and it speaks about the Messiah returning back. And the book of Ezekiel, the book of Zechariah, the book of Jeremiah, all of these prophets speak about a Messiah who's going to be setting up law and order based upon a ancient Near Eastern law or practices. Because in ancient Near Eastern culture, there is servants, maids, male servants, female servants, vassal kings. That means they're kings, and we'll read that too in the book of Genesis. That means that there are kings who serve under other kings. He's going to establish those things again. So we have been following a system, a westernized system, who has been fooling themselves for the longest time. Let's get rid of the old patriarchal system because that's male chauvinism. Okay? Guess what? You go to church, you believe in Jesus Christ, you believe in the Messiah. And when the Messiah returns, what do you think he's going to do? Tell you what, let's go to the book of Psalms chapter 2. Yes, brother. As for me and my house, we will serve the Most High. That's correct. The book of Psalms, let's read Psalms chapter 2. I have been hearing a lot about unity among Israel. It's been echoed throughout the communities on YouTube and everywhere. And it's always talking about let's come together and form communities. Let's homeschool our children because things are getting rough. Brothers and sisters, it is getting rough and it's going to get worse. But if we bring Western thought and Western government into a Hebraic system, we're going to have problems. We're always going to have problems. It will never work. Now, I agree that the only way things will work is if it's done in righteousness. And that has been utilized, that whole concept of righteousness has been used as a wall, a huge wall to say we cannot move ahead because there are no righteous men. Let me say to those women who say, I will not follow because there are no righteous men, I would strongly suggest that you just give up your marriage altogether. Why are you even in a marriage if you consider your husband unrighteous? Just give it up, because if you have gone into a mindset of Western ideology that you can do and operate through Roman thinking, then you might as well just go over on one side rather than be in between. Because if you're in between something that is going in two different directions, you're going to be torn in pieces. You have to decide. Either you choose one or choose the other. Either your husband is of righteousness or he's not. And then you have to look at yourself in the mirror and says, well, am I also a woman of righteousness? Okay, and will I teach my children righteousness? That's the other thing that we have to look at. Let's read Psalms 2, and this is a prophecy about the Messiah. It shows and explains that there will be kings under the Messiah that will be uncomfortable with the idea of being ruled. Okay, let's read Psalms 2, verses 1.
Psalm 2, verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?
We can apply that to households today. Why do households rage? Not the head of household, but the household. Read.
The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yah. That's
the head. Now, when we go to the writings of Paul, Corinthians, he speaks about the heads. There's the father, then there's the son, and then there's the male husband, and then there's the wife, and then the children, and such like, right? That's the order that he said. But again, the wall or the get out of jail certificate that says my husband is not righteous is utilized so that it can swerve around falling under the authority of a male head. So we find that these kings have a problem with the rulership of the head of heads, which is the Most High. Read.
And against his anointed,
Against the Heavenly Father and against the Messiah. Read.
saying, Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. Yah shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my kings upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. Yah hath said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance.
Notice it says, given something for an inheritance, a possession. Read.
And the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession.
For possession. Read.
Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel.
You know, the reason why this is written this way, because sometimes talk doesn't get you anywhere. There comes a point in time when it gets tiresome that you have to keep repeating your position. You know, the Most High wanted to be in such a way that it is a natural flow of things that people, the left arm knows that it needs to operate a certain way. The right arm should know it should operate this way. The eyes, the mouth, everything is, the body is doing what it was designed specifically to do. But we find when it comes to the microcosm of society, which we call the household, it doesn't work like that. There's so much opposition. So much opposition. Honey, can you do this? Stoops. I can't even do it. I need some more water. Let me get a little bit more water. Gotta work on that. See, I can't do it because it's not customary for me to do it. We get a lot of that. Everybody wants to be the head. Everybody wants to be the head who holds the house together. When the Most High made the males with the loins that have the whole house in it to populate the whole earth, but that is not good. That is not good at all. Elder. And most people don't realize that you are sending the wrong message and setting a bad example. We're going to read some stuff in the scriptures. Read on for me.
Verse 10. Be wise now, therefore.
This is the part that I want us to see. You see, he doesn't want to use the rod. He doesn't want to use the rod. He just wants to, he says to be wise now. Read.
Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed.
Be instructed.
Ye judges of the earth.
You have to pay attention, learn, and understand your role. But they don't want to follow. This is called, in the scriptures, vassals, vassal kings. These are kings who serve other kings. Now, you all may think that this doesn't happen today. Well, you're wrong. What do you think America is? The big jefe. El jefe. Jefe grande. The big boy. And if a country doesn't agree, troops will be at the border. We all live in a system that works and we see it, but when it comes to the scriptures, we hate it. It's uncomfortable. Read on.
Serve Yah with fear and rejoice with trembling.
How can you rejoice? He says, rejoice with trembling. That is a level of respect where you understand that your life and death is at the door, at your door. And we're going to look at some things of the ancient customs. Read on.
Verse 12. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry.
Stop. Kiss the Son, otherwise he'll be what?
Angry.
But in our day and time, in order to pacify, the male have to say, well, let me just try to get along. You can't be angry. You can't be firm. You can't be this. You can't be that. You have to be sweet chocolates, sweeties, bubble gum. Read that again, verses 12.
Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed are all they that put their trust in him.
So it's saying that there are going to be some people that will be blessed because they trust. They trust. So again, we find that it's very ironic how people are preparing for the Messiah to come. And when he shows up, they're going to find out that according to the prophets, they have to follow a ancient Near Eastern culture of laws. If this be the case, shouldn't we be focusing on understanding those things? In other words, if we are expecting a Messiah that will lay down ancient practices, don't you think we should be spending time to learn these things? How the house operated? I have made a comment before that everybody wants to be Queen Esther, but in reality they are Vashti. Everybody wants to be Sarah, but in reality they are Hagar. There's a lot of that going around in our time. Everybody has the names of Esther, Sarah, this, that, all these prominent names. But in reality, they are more rebellious, like the Vashtis and the Hagars and so forth in the scriptures. It's really sad. And the only excuse is that no man can be my head. I don't want no man over me. No man. I really don't understand. Nevertheless, again, I'm not trying to force anything on anyone. I'm going to just teach the class as it is. And those who agree will agree. Those who disagree will disagree. And we'll just keep it moving. Because the Most High's word is a two-edged sword. When you bring the scriptures, it's a problem. So we're going to bring history and show you some stuff. Okay? We'll take a look at history. So let's continue on. This book that we see here on the screen, we'll be using a lot of the reference material from this book. There are other books that I can utilize, but this particular book, you can find it on Amazon for $450.16. If you'd like to get a copy, you got to get about $500. I think it's for just one volume. A History of Ancient Near Eastern Law, Volumes 1 and 2. Editor is Raymond Westbrook. The first comprehensive survey of the world's oldest legal systems. This collaborative work of 22 scholars. 22 scholars. How many letters are in the alphabet? It's 22. Covers over 3,000 years of legal history of the ancient Near East. So we're going to be looking at just the introduction parts of it, and we'll do some comparisons with scripture. We'll try our best to bring as much as we can. But again, there's so much material to cover. I don't believe we'll have much time to cover everything today, so we'll do like a part 2 and whatever. We'll just do as much as we can and just keep it moving. So I find, again, when I go into topics with regards to marriage, with regards to rulership of the house. It always makes people upset. It always, it just irritates people. I don't know why that is, but I understand why. Before we continue, I want to read passages in Jeremiah chapter 31. Jeremiah chapter 31 and verses 22 has a prophecy. Read from 21 into 22.
Jeremiah 21 verse 20, Jeremiah 31 verse 21 and 22.
Uh-huh.
Set thee up waymarks.
Set up waymarks. What does that mean? What are waymarks? Something to mark your way. It's very simple. Okay, it's something to guide you. Go ahead.
Make thee high heaps. Set thine heart toward the highway, even the way which thou wentest. Turn again.
It says, return again, turn around.
O Virgin of Israel, turn again to these thy cities.
Come back to the place that you belong. Verses 22.
How long wilt thou go about?
How long are you going to keep on your journey and your path? You're going contrary, you're going opposite from the place that you're supposed to be. You're leaving your house. You don't like the house that you were in before. Read.
O thou backsliding daughter.
Backsliding daughter. Read.
For Yah have created a new thing in the earth.
Now there's a new thing in the earth. Read.
A woman shall compass a man.
I wonder what that really means. A woman shall compass a man. Come from behind and take over. It seems that way. Do you think that this is a prophecy? Absolutely, Mishpachah. You see, the Bible is letting us know that the direction Israel was going was wrong. Trying to break away from the order. Last time we talked about order, we talked about unity or chad. We saw how the first place that it began, that this unity began, was in the Garden of Eden. We never had an opportunity to really see, other than the one speech thing that happened. And even that was forced, because Nimrod forced the people to go and build bricks, cities and stuff. That was forced. People didn't really want to do a lot of stuff that he was pushing. But we can see that there was always this unity among mankind, when the Most High set an order how things should be. Let's go to the book of Esther. All right, Isaiah 3:12. Okay, let's take a look at that. Isaiah chapter 3 and verses 12, you said? All right. Thank you, Ima. Three and verses 12. All right. Go ahead and read.
Isaiah 3 verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths.
So who's the one leading? It was the women. It was the women that was leading, and because the men started to follow the women, they found themselves being lost. Our path, our ways were destroyed. We were being destroyed, Mishpachah. This is the problem. Read on for me, please.
Verse 13. Yah standeth up to plead, and standeth to judge the people. Yah will enter into judgment with the ancients of his people.
Now let's stop there. If you notice, he says he's going to enter into judgment with who? The older ones. Because why? They're the ones who know better. They're the ones who have forfeited their position. You know, once you let something go, it's very hard to get it back. It's very difficult to get it back. You let someone take your crown and they start to experience what it's like to be on top, they're going to have all that, that taste of power and control or whatever it is, and that will be it for you. This is why Sirach says, don't train someone to have power over you. Otherwise, they'll come into your house and kick you out. It says so in Sirach. Keep back certain information. Sirach has a whole lot of chapters about family, children, and wives, marriage, and servants, and friends. Because all these things make up household. The household is not just a wife. It's children and people who work in the house, servants and friends and so forth. But mainly those that are under the jurisdiction of the head. Okay. All right. Let's go, I says, to the book of Esther, correct? All right. So let's go to Esther. And let's go to, let's see what happened. We're going to go to verses 10.
Esther chapter 1.
Esther 1. Well, let's start at verses, let's start at verses 8. I don't want to read too much. Esther 1 and verses 8.
Esther chapter 1, verse 8. And the drinking was according to the law, none did compel. For so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure.
So the king had officers of his house. He was a head over many subjects. And we will see, according to Near Eastern culture, that a king or head of household is like a king. He's king of his house. The same way you can look at a structure of a house, you can use that as the cell block to build a nation. This is why Abraham was to build nations. He was the template of how things should be. So let's read on.
Also Vashti the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus.
No, which belonged to Queen Vashti. Who did the house belong to?
King Ahasuerus.
It belonged to the king. So even though she had a royal house, she's in that royal house, so she can make her own feast. She can do the feast. But who was the head over Vashti?
King.
It was the king. Read on.
On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbonah, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king.
So these are servants. Again, the servants in the household, like with Abraham. Read on.
To bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on.
Read on.
But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command.
She did what?
Refused to come.
She refused to come. You see what the problem is? She refused. Now, was Ahasuerus a wicked dude? No, he wasn't. If he was stingy, wicked, whatever the case, you think she would have a crown royal, a royal crown, and have a royal house and throw her own feasts and all kinds of stuff? Would she have privileges? That's the point I'm trying to make. Would she have the authority to do certain things? No. But she was given provisions. She was given allowance. And you see what the results were of her freedom? Huh? You see what she did with her freedom? She refused. And this hardens a man. This makes a man angry. This frustrates a man. And a lot of our sisters don't see these things. They think it's okay. And what they do in our modern society, they use this Roman system as a tool to beat down on the so-called head of household, because he's not really a head of household if you don't see him as such. If your heart is telling you otherwise, he is not your head of household. He's only a figure. That's all he is. A symbol of what used to be, but he's not. If you speak down on him, if you're talking to other women bad about him, he is not your head. If you tell your mother negative things about him, he is not your head. He is not. Let's read on. Let's see if the king was happy about it.
But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth.
He was happy.
Very wroth.
I will talk to you later about this, honey.
Very wroth. And his anger burned in him.
The guy was embarrassed. Can you imagine you have a wife and you says, I'd like you to do such and such. And in front of everybody, she decides, I'm not doing it. You know how embarrassing that is? Especially when you are in a position of authority. When you call upon your wife to do certain things and she says, I'm not doing it. I refuse to do it. You know how hurtful that is? Now, you being a man, you're not going to go in a corner and cry. But you're going to get the other side of the fence, which is anger. And nobody wants to deal with an angry man. Nobody wants to deal with a man who has to put his feet down. You think King Ahasuerus wanted to put his feet down? He didn't want to do that. This is why we read Psalms 2 first, where it says, be wise, therefore, kings. Be instructed. Submit yourself. And those that submit themselves will be blessed. You want to be wearing the royal crown on your head. You want to be with your girls and talk about your nails and how life is so good and everything else and how you travel. You want to talk about all the nice stuff. The guy's a wicked guy when he doesn't give you vacation. He's a wicked guy when he doesn't give you stuff. But if you want the good stuff, why don't you just submit yourself? Why do you have to oppose him? And if you have a long history of opposition, don't expect that the guy is going to change and give you blessings when you're always opposing him. You have a long history of being rebellious. Long history. Everything, the husband says open, you say close. He said close, you say open. He said come, you say go. It's just a pull, tug and pull over and over. So who is the head of household? Because according to Hebraic culture, Aleph is the first letter, or Aleph is the first letter in the alphabet, alphabet, and it denotes an ox, the head of an ox. So are you the head of an ox? Because as far as I know, the ox is for the male. That's what an ox is, right? Are there any female oxes? Not that I know of. Huh? Sarah called him Elohim, Lord. No, that's no, that for a woman in our time to call her husband Lord, you're talking about she'll have to go to the dentist and remove all her teeth, because she'll be biting her tongue every single day. She'd rather just go get her teeth removed. Forget it. Me call that guy Lord? Him? He was Lord when you had the appetite for the money, the sex, whatever it is that you had desires that brought. Because I don't know in today's society if any woman suffered a club over their head, the caveman style relationship, where the man came and over the head and drag you by the hair and bring you into the relationship. There was something that you says, yes, I do. Before you can finish a sentence, I do. So, based upon what you said, it shouldn't be difficult for you to say, call him Lord, based on that criteria. But over a few weeks, it changes. Maybe your friends told you something, girl, you're going to submit to that man, and you start moving the head back and forth. The head goes like this, swinging back and forth, like swing doors and stuff. And then guess what? The children see the same thing. The daughters, the sons see that, hey, this daddy don't have no power. Daddy doesn't have any power. And the daughters see where the power is going to. And she is being educated on how the house really works. Let's read on. Vashti refused to come to the king's command by the chamberlains. Verses 13.
Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times.
Wise men. He went to the knuckleheads? No, he went to the wise men. No, he went to the wise women. Who did he go to?
Wise men.
Who knew what?
The times.
The times. Read.
For so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment.
Law. So now he's going to the courts. This is a legal matter. See, we all think that when a woman say no to her husband, that it's not legal. That no is nothing legal. There's no ramifications to that. Everything in this universe runs by law, whether you like it or not. There's laws in the earth. Seed needs water, it needs sunlight, it needs certain things. If it doesn't have it, it will not grow. It will not function. Everything operates by law. Now, in time past, you have seen me do classes that has encouraged our sisters to hold their head up high. And I still encourage that, our sisters to hold their heads up high, but not to disrespect their husbands. You give honor where honor is due. If you have a good sister who's doing what is right, a good wife doing what is right, she should be applauded. But when you have rebellion, you can't expect to be told sweet things and receive awards for rebellion. That doesn't work at the workplace, your job site. Shouldn't work in the house either. Verses 14.
And the next unto him was Kirshina, Shethar, Admarthar, Tarshish, Meres, and Mersina, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which saw the first in the kingdom.
They're the ones who saw that the king was really disappointed. He was displeased. And they knew that when the king spoke in front of everyone, the word is already going out from the king's mouth. People are going to be waiting to see the reaction. What is going to become of this thing? As a rabbi, as a teacher, as an instructor of the way of the Most High, I have a lot of challenges. And many times I'm between a rock and a hard place. And if I put my foot down on certain things, I'm called a bad person. And therefore, by default, when you make corrections, you're not supposed to teach because this is not right. This is not in order. You know, you start getting all these different things. Let's see how the king dealt with this situation. Read. Verses 15.
What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law? Because she have not performed the commandments of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only.
Oh, she didn't only disrespect the king as the head, the monarchy over the whole ancient Near East, because that's who the king ruled over. Not only did she disrespect the king's authority, read,
but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus.
This is the part of the Bible that a lot of people swerve around. They don't want to stop, slow down, and really read this thing properly. In our day, a man is made guilty for usurping authority. Why is that? Why are men made to feel guilty for being men? Imagine you go to the jungle and a lion starts to roar, and society says, no, don't do that. Don't roar. Meow. Say that instead. Roll over and let them rub your belly. Can you continue on, please?
Verse 17.
Uh-huh.
For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women.
On to who?
All women.
All the women's. Read.
So that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes.
Uh-huh. Read.
When it shall be reported.
When it is reported. It's just a matter of time that news travel. You can't hide the thing. She start pushing her face up. When other women come around, they're going to ask her questions. Well, what's wrong with you? Oh, that man want me to come and just parade myself in front of the men's. Who do you think he is? Huh? Who do you think he is? Girl, I'm with you. I'm on your side. You're not going to go because, and then it just starts to spread all over the place. You know, in Near Eastern culture, we're going to see when we read this thing. We're reading facts. In Near Eastern culture, when you have a light bulb that flickers, you know what you do? You replace it. Nobody wants to have a light that comes on when it feels like. You need to see something and it flicker, it goes off. You're trying your best to see. Imagine you're driving your car down the street and your headlights go out. And in bright daylight, it just comes on. In the dark, it goes out. And during the daytime, it just comes on. You know, people die from things like that. And not just you alone will perish, but everybody else around you. So you got to take this thing to consideration. Look at this thing carefully and examine what is wrong with this thing. Let's read on.
The king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not.
She did what?
She came not.
From bad to worse. She could have come and says, well, king, I'm sorry. That day I wasn't in my right mind. I had my cycle or something, some excuse. At least put some butter on the bread. But she knew exactly what she was doing. And she decided within herself, I am not going to do whatever the king wants to do. That's not my agenda. I have my own agenda, my own mind, my own. It's me, 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 me. That's the way she was thinking. And that thing started to spread. When it shall be reported, read on.
Verse 18.
Likewise
shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall they arise too much contempt and wrath.
We call that private wars, private battlefield. Now, this is a good way to disassemble any society, cause a breach in the household, and then society starts to fall apart. Why do you think we see things the way it is today? The men are not the ones ruling anymore. When you read the Willie Lynch letter, I'm always going to go back to that. The first thing that the slave master recognized, he used agriculture with the horses. He understood there's a male stallion that has to be broken. When you break that stallion, you can set the course for the rest of the herd. It's called a herd, right? What is it called? A herd for horses? Okay. They use the same concept applied to the male. break the male down in the presence of the female, then put the female up a notch, but let her know that the one that is higher than her is the master. And now this male is broken. He can't operate. He's like a broken chicken. A rooster, like, he's not sure of himself. He can't crow in his own pen. Now the female hens are chasing him all around the place instead of he chasing them around. If you watch chickens, right, Elder? You see when the rooster comes out of the pen, he starts to scratch the ground and he expects the females to come his way. And if they don't come his way, what does he do? He looks for them and he runs behind them and bring them back. You get your behind over here. He scratches the ground again and he watches to see if they're going to eat. Now the females who has the hen, he gave them a little break. But they're still under his authority. Is that correct? Nature is there are people who always talk about nature teaches us stuff, but they don't really care about what nature is teaching. They disregard it. They have a problem with it. So let's read on verses
19.
19. Let's see how the king resolved this problem.
If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another, that is better than she.
That is the same like her. Better. So there must be some qualifications that must be on the table to know what is supposed to be better than Vashti. Vashti, I'm sure she was a smart, intelligent, or whatever woman she was, but she used her position to block the king from doing what he's supposed to do. Just the whole symbol of not showing up was going to send the wrong message to the whole nation. So now the enemy could just walk right into the Medes and Persia empire and just take over, because now the governors can't rule anymore. The officers can't rule anymore. The husbands can't rule anymore. They can't operate their homes like it's supposed to. Everything is upside down. The society will start to fall apart. This is where we are today. Okay. Read on verses 20.
And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan.
All right, we can stop there. So it says, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor. That's so unnatural for you have to write things into law and to make it such a way that they have to give honor. It shouldn't be that way. Yes, bro. You want to grab the microphone?
Yes, shalom to everyone. Shaul in the New Testament says the same thing, basically what is being mentioned here. He told the men to love their wives and their wives to respect their husbands. So,
but do you know that there is a definition? There are two different definitions. When the husband says this is the definition for love, the wife is going to say that is not what love means. They will say, well, you are not loving me. They would say that. So now you have two different things going on in the house. Yes, we're going to read on to 22. All right, let's finish up in 22. Go ahead and read.
For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people.
That every man should bear rule in his own house. These are the ancient customs, but today, Mishpachah, oh boy. So you see that this book is cost $400 and something. The good stuff ain't cheap, huh? Let's move on. Let's look at personal status according to this book. It says this. Read for me. Read for me, please.
The societies of the ancient Near East were strongly hierarchical in structure, with little social mobility. The place of an individual in the hierarchy determined his legal rights and duties, not only with respect to public and family law, but also in areas that modern law would regard as incongruous.
Incongruous. Go ahead.
Incongruous.
Mm-hmm.
Such as contract and criminal law.
Let's see what it means. So for those who don't know, let's see. It means what? Not in harmony or keeping with the surroundings or other aspects of something. Okay. So there was an order. Remember again, Corinthians talk about the heads and covering and so forth and showing rank and order. Well, in the Near Eastern culture, there was order. Okay. Let's move on. Read.
The basic unit of society was the household.
The basic unit of society was the household. So if there's no king, there's no government, it all falls back to the head of the house. And if you want to build a government, if you want to build a society, it begins with the household. Okay, read.
Ideally, it comprised an extended family that could cover 3 generations and additional dependents, such as slaves, apprentices, and persons in debt bondage. Although in practice, it might exist with only fragments of these components.
So it's saying that a household in a Near Eastern culture, you had 3 generations. What does that mean by 3 generations? Grandfather, the father, and the son. Okay? And then it says you also had dependents, you also had servants or slaves, people that work for you, and you had people who had to pay off their debts. So it's showing you that because when we read the scriptures, it tells us about households, how it works, and Abraham is a good example. We'll go into that too. Okay? Let's continue.
The head of the household was typically the father.
It was who?
Typically the father.
Oh, the father was the one in charge of the household. Read.
A household is often called house of the father.
So this is not me putting my words in there. This is almost a $500 book of 3,000 years of research, of study, history, that is telling us something that we're supposed to already know. I don't need to spend $500 to know what the Most High set up since the Garden of Eden. Who's the head of household? But sometimes we need to go there to remind us because we have problems. And the problems are starting to spread all over the place. And we're talking about nation building. We're talking about, we say so many wonderful words, but we don't mean anything. We really don't mean it. It doesn't have value. We work around it. We try to find excuses, and we always are ready to find fault. You think Ahasuerus was perfect? That Vashti would say, that guy ain't no good. I'm not going to follow him. The guy had advisors because you don't know everything. And even if you were a king that was deficient on certain areas, you have people to help orchestrate, to pull things together. But you don't disrespect your head just because he doesn't know everything. But that's what we have in today's society. The man is always belittled, but you need the man for a lot of things. I am tired of hearing how our sisters are belittling our men from time and time again. You hear it in their speech all the time. You hear it. And I would say, please do not call me a Rebbe if you're not going to listen. There are things in the Torah that tells you when the judge of the community lay down certain things and you don't follow, it's going to be on your back. Don't use these titles. Go to school. You pay your $30,000 loan. Go to school, to college, and do whatever you want in the college, and say, well, I paid my money, so give me my my degree, and see how that works. Disrespect the teacher. Disrespect the order. Disrespect the dean of the college, the authority. Tell the policeman to his face, I pay taxes. I pay your taxes, and disrespect him and see what happens. See, we know how things work, but when we come into the quarters of our house, we disrespect a whole lot. Go ahead and read it again.
The head of household was typically the father. A household is often called house of the father. But again, there were many variations according to circumstances.
All right, let's move ahead and let's look at some examples. This is from the book of Joshua, chapter 26, 28, 29. Extended family that could cover 3 generations. So instead of going through every single place in the Bible for examples, I'm going to use a few here and there, okay? Go ahead and read.
Joshua chapter 26 from verse 28.
Uh-huh.
And Isaac answered his father and said unto him, that which my Lord have commanded, that will I do.
Who was his father? Abraham. Isaac is saying to his father, whatever you say, I will do. Whatever the Most High commands you to do, I'm going to do it. Read.
And I will not depart from the commands of Yahuwah my Elohim.
Uh-huh.
I will keep all that he commanded me. And Abraham blessed his son Isaac and also his children.
Uh-huh.
And Abraham taught Jacob and the instructions of Yah and his ways.
So there were 3 generations around. And Jacob was in some far-flung place. They all stayed under the house of Abraham because Abraham is the only one who can allow people to go or come. He's the one who was the head of his house. Isaac couldn't go and start something new. Jacob couldn't go and start something new unless Abraham gave him permission to do it. Read on.
And it was at that time that Abraham died, in the 15th year of the life of Jacob and Esau, the sons of Isaac. And all the days of Abraham were 175 years, and he died and was gathered to his people in good old age, old and satisfied with days.
He was satisfied. I wonder how he got that, how he became satisfied, how he got that satisfaction. Or was it vexation of spirit?
Through respect and obedience.
Because when a man says this is how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be. I don't know, brethren. I think, anyway, I believe because we have, I would call it pseudo rights. We just listen. Right now, we're just being entertained. It's just entertainment. This is not really learning or teaching. This is just entertainment. I just want to see what this book has to say. That's it. Let's continue on the next slide. So he was satisfied with days. Read the rest.
And Isaac and Ishmael, his sons, buried him.
All right. Let's look at additional dependents such as slaves, apprentices, and persons in debt bondage. Genesis 12 and verses 5.
Genesis 12, verse 5. And Abram took Sarah his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came.
That's a household. He had servants. Even Lot was under Abraham's jurisdiction. You see what the Bible is saying right here in front of us? All the souls that they had gotten. Where did they get those souls from? Huh? That's ancient Near Eastern culture. Let's read verses 16.
And he entreated Abram well for her sake.
Uh-huh.
And he had sheep and oxen, and he had asses, and men servants, and maidservants, and she asses, and camels.
Abraham had received a bounty of extra servants, supplies, wealth from Egypt. Why? Because transgression, a legal transgression had happened. When Pharaoh had legally wronged a man who had a wife. You understand that? See, Pharaoh had a workaround, kill the man and take the woman. Abraham knew how the culture worked, that if I'm dead, a man can take you, Sarai, as his wife. So just say that, see, Abraham had the authority to instruct his wife what to do, what to say, how to carry yourself when you go into these places. And she did what, elder? She obeyed. She obeyed. She kept her mouth shut. She did what she had to do. Everybody cannot be Sarai. But a lot of people can be a Hagar. It's very easy to be Hagar. To be Sarai, even to transition from Sarai to Sarah, it takes work, humility, respect. It takes a lot of these things which a lot of women don't have today, unfortunately. Yes, elder.
There are no descriptions. If she didn't obey, there will be punishment.
All praises to our King. Let's move on. Read for me, please.
What the hierarchy within the household meant was that the head of household could to some extent use the subordinate members of household, even the free ones, as the objects of legal transactions.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Anyone? What the hierarchy within the household meant, what your position meant, was that the head of household could to some extent use the subordinate members of the household, anyone that is not head of house, because there's only one head of household, not two, not three, not four, not shared head of household, one head of household. That's okay. Just tell me. Jeroboam? If a woman brings forth a two-headed child, you think she's going to be full of joy or she's going to be in sorrow? Sorrow. Just imagine a child comes out and it's a two-head stuck together. It's going to be a lot of sorrow. It's a huge challenge. They know that child is going to be a challenge all the days of their life. So how can you have a two-headed household? A two-headed household will not work. This is why you had the kingdom of Medes and Persia. When the Medes ruled, finished doing their stuff, the Persians, or they had the separate places. There was no two heads on one throne. It doesn't work. It's always going to have a problem. So it says here that they had power over the members of the household, and they can use them as objects of legal transactions. Let's read on.
He could certainly enter into legal obligations on their behalf. By the same token, the subordinate members had limited legal capacity when acting on their own behalf, but could, as agents, create rights and duties in the head of household.
So we saw how Vashti had that opportunity to do her little business to the side, but she couldn't disrespect the head of the house. Read on.
They might also suffer the consequences of his criminal acts.
So if the king messes up, the whole house will also suffer because of the head of the house. Is that correct? Read on.
Through the doctrines of vicarious and collective liability.
Let's prove that. Use subordinate members of the household, even the free ones, as objects of legal transactions. Let's look at an example. This is just one of many. Genesis chapter 17, verses 12 to 14.
Genesis 17, 12 to 14 reads, and he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations. He that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed.
Which is not of your seed. So you may have someone say, well, hey, I'm not your child. What do you need to circumcise me for? I don't need to do this. You can do this among your own people. Let's read on verses 13.
He that is born in thy house and he that is bought with thy money must needs be circumcised.
Where are these words coming from? Who?
Most High.
Who's the Most High? Let's clarify that. The creator of what? All things. Sometimes you got to make it clear for people to really understand who is speaking here. Abraham had a house. He was in charge of his house. It didn't go to Sarah and say, Sarah, this is what to do. It went straight to Abraham, and then he ordered his house. He says, listen, everybody got to be circumcised. There was no female saying, hey, I want to be in this contract too. I'm going to be circumcised. There was none of that stuff. Oh, let me go and get let me go kill a goat. A ram goat, take the nuts and hold it, dry it, and keep it as a token that symbolically I'm a power too. So I can show you, wiggle, 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 wiggle. I'm the power. I'm the power. Wiggle it. I'm the power. That doesn't work, Mishpachah. You're not going to hear this in church. Because in church, you see who's really running the show. It's a show. Okay, and it's highly offensive because it puts things back where it's supposed to be. And when the Messiah returns, trust me, it's going to happen. Either we are rehearsing now, doing things correctly, and then he will fine tune it, or he's going to bring the rod out. He's going to have to do it. Okay, and I know a lot of our people will say, "I'll just wait until then. It's better for me to wait until then." Do you know there's a lot of people who think like that? Well, imagine you go into a dinner and everybody's supposed to wash their hands and come at the table. Do you think you're going to allow someone to come in and say, I'll wash my hands later on after I finish eat? They're just scratching the behind. They're coming at the table. And they're going to tell you, oh, I'll wash it later on. Yes, Elder. During the Passover. Oh, with Yeshua and Peter? Yeah, if you don't wash, you don't have any part with me. You know why the priests also have to wash their feet? Because males do not stoop down when they pee. When you pee, standing, the pee can hit any place and ricochet and go on your feet or whatever it is. You got to wash yourself before you come into the temple, both your hands and your feet. It's just how nature works. Okay? Let's read.
And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant.
What does everlasting mean?
Forever.
So if we read in the Bible where it says everlasting, and we say everlasting is only until Christ come, then we should also look at when Christ says, I'm going to give you everlasting life, and says, well, you're not here anymore. That's done away with. Huh? Everlasting is only temporary. That doesn't make any sense. Verse 14.
And the uncircumcised man shall man-child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He have broken my covenant.
The covenant is between the males and the Most High. And the males are the one who operate the household. That is the normal structure. Okay, now there are some little situations where we find a female is in a certain position, but we will see how that works shortly. Let's look at Genesis 19. We're going to read 6 to verses 8, and we're going to see objects of legal transactions. Something is happening, and I got to use this to deal with a situation. Use a person to deal with a very, in exchange, like currency, like money, in exchange for something else. Let's see what the book says.
Genesis 19, verses 6 to 8.
Uh-huh.
And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes.
So this is a transaction that he was about to do. Transferring his 2 daughters over to these people because he have the power of life and death over his family. It resides with him. Now, of course, when he got to the mountain and he was drunk, what happened to his authority? It went through the window. His daughters took the authority over the husband, over the father, and turned the father into a husband, and turned everything upside down, backwards. Let's read.
Only unto these men do nothing.
Why?
For therefore they came under the shadow of my roof.
So if they're under the shadow of, under his roof, guess what? He is the head over them. He's responsible for their well-being. He has to either put somebody has to be sacrificed to protect these men. That's the way of the ancient customs. And if I'll do whatever it takes to protect whoever's in my house, because I have the authority over my home. You don't have the right to come in. This is why they were trying to break the doors to come in. Now, a lot of this stuff here sounds like male chauvinism. We have problems with it. This is why we have a batty man culture today. A sodomite, a chichi man, whatever you want to call it. Lettuce, guacamole, bacon, what do you call it, kifa? Tomato and cucumber culture. LGBTQ, whatever to call it, culture. They might also suffer the consequences of his criminal acts. Remember we read that? Let's see if we find proof of that in Near Eastern culture. The book of Joshua, chapter 7, we're going to read 18 to 20, and then we'll jump down 24 to 25, okay?
Joshua chapter 7, verse 18 to 20. And he brought his household man by man, and Achan the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was taken. So
Joshua was waging war against the Canaanites. And Elohim says, if you keep my commandments, you're going to win the battles and stuff. You'll have power over your enemies. But if you don't keep the commandments, I will not fight for you. Was Joshua doing anything wrong? But Joshua was a leader. He was the head of the house of Israel at that particular time. So when one member of the house of Israel was doing wrong, guess what? He also feel it too. So the Most High gave him, this is called grace, an opportunity to correct the problem. And he went from house to house to find out where the problem existed. Verses 19.
And Joshua said unto Achan, my son, Give, I pray thee, glory to Yah, Elohim of Israel, and make confession unto him.
This is an oath. He made him go before the Most High and declare an oath. Okay, read.
And tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me.
Read.
And Achan answered Joshua and said, Indeed, I have sinned against Yah, Elohim of Israel, and thus have I done. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver and the garment and the wedge of gold and his sons and his daughters and his oxen and his asses and his sheep and his tent and all that he had. And they brought them unto the valley of Achor.
So Joshua took Achan, all his gold and jewelry, everything that he had, all his wealth, the stuff that he took that he shouldn't have taken, and the stuff that he already had. His children, all his children, his whole family, his wife, everyone was taken and brought to the valley of Achor. Read.
And Joshua said, Why hast thou troubled us?
You see the problem there? Why have you troubled us? Not just your house, you trouble the whole entire nation of Israel. Remember what we read about Ahasuerus? The problem that existed with one causes problems to spread. Read on.
And all Israel.
Read it again, 25.
25. And Joshua said, Why hast thou troubled us? And Yah shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones and burned them with fire after they had stoned them with stones.
Near Eastern culture. Again, consequences for the head of household. Because Achan went and did some crazy stuff, his whole family perished. The Most High is holding the head of household responsible for his actions. We have to be held accountable. We have to make sure that we're doing what is right. Because when we go before the Most High, he's going to kill the whole family. He's not going to kill the family and let you get away. Another example is Matthew chapter 18 and 25. Let's go there real quick. So we can see the same thing in the New Testament. For those who like to stay under the shadows of Christianity, we'll see it in Matthew 18, okay? We'll see what sweet Jesus was saying. Sweet Jesus, meek and mild. How does the song go again? Gentle Jesus, meek and mild. Ding, ding, ding. The little child. How does it go, Elder? You remember the song? Y'all forget that song? Huh? Okay. Gentle Jesus, meek. Let's see how gentle Jesus was laying it down. 18 and 25. Let's read.
But for as much
Let's start at verses 22.
Yeshua said unto him, I say not unto thee, until 70 times 7. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay,
he didn't want to pay,
his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife and children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. All right, that's all we need. You can read the rest of the story. You can see how the guy turned around and strangled another guy who owed him some money. And then the king found out, and the king went back and, because the king had forgiven the guy, basically the king gave him a chance to get himself together. He begged him, give me some time to get right with my debt, because I know if I don't pay this thing, I'm going to lose my life, my family, and everything else. I'll be placed into servitude to pay off this debt. The guy turned around, and you can see how the order works. The same authority that the king was going to lay on this guy, the guy took that same template and applied onto another person that was beneath him.
So the king says, okay, you want to use the power like that, huh? Abuse. You're going to pay for it. Okay. But we can see that even in the time of Yeshua, it was customary because the people could have said, what are you talking about? We don't do that stuff here. Gentle Jesus, meek and mild. You know, they could have sang the song. They could have sang the song. They could have been confused, but they understood the culture. They understood how things operated in their neck of the woods. Okay, let's go back to our slides here. Let's look at gender from this book and see what has been said. Just real quick, let's go to it. Yeah, go ahead and read.
As far as the legal systems were concerned, the archetypal person was a male head of household.
So according to the legal system is concerned, it was always the male who had the right power to do transactions or whatever the case may be. Go ahead.
Women as a class had no special status in the law.
In the law. Okay, read.
Rather, all subordinate members of a household, whether wives or male or female children, had more limited rights and duties.
Limited rights and duties. Read.
Legal capacity was therefore more a function of one's position in the household than of one's gender or age.
Read.
And the patriarchal household was by no means the sole configuration possible.
So it means to say there are only special occasions where there was no male head of house. Let's look at that.
A household might be headed by a widow or divorcee.
A widow or divorcee, but it goes a step further. Let's see.
Either alone or together with her adult sons.
With her sons.
Or brothers.
Or brothers.
Might together form a joint household.
Because the males are the ones who... You may have a woman who inherited a lot of wealth from her side of the family. And then her husband also have wealth. And when he dies, she has all this wealth. She also has servants and whatnot. As we go into our studies, you will also understand that there are cases where servants can be adopted into, and that servant that is adopted into can be given the authority to manage the affairs of the house in cases where the husband is deceased or there's a divorce situation. Okay? So there are special cases where these things occurred, but it was not normal. Now, if our sisters today seeing this as a loophole, go ahead, poison your husband if you want to do that to escape, or just, breach the contract. Do something crazy and breach the contract. But also in Near Eastern law, you do these things, and guess what happens to you? If you try to leave that way, you'll be dead. Okay? So, read it again. A household
might be headed by a widow or divorcee, either alone or together with her adult sons, or brothers might together form a joint household, or a single person, male or female, might be entirely independent.
All right. Let's look at Judith chapter 8. We're going to read 4 and 7. A household may be headed by a widow or divorcee. Let's look at a biblical example.
So Judith was a widow in her house 3 years and 4 months.
So she was a widow. Read.
She was also of a goodly countenance.
She had a good spirit within her.
And very beautiful to behold.
So she wasn't just beautiful on the outside. She was beautiful on the inside. She was rare. Rare. Beauty on both sides of the fence. Read.
And her husband Manasseh had left her gold and silver, and men servants and maid servants, and cattle and lands, and she remained upon them.
So she never got married, but she had servants. Now the husband can set the law up in such a way that his wife can operate because of the wealth that they have. If she didn't have the wealth, guess what would happen to her? She would become dependent. She would be dependent on she needs some means of income, some means of protection. Because of the mass of wealth that the husband had, she was able to have her house operating with no problem. Plus also servants who would be in charge of certain affairs. Okay? Let's look at Genesis 21. We'll read 20 and 21.
Genesis 21,
A divorcee,
20 to
right?
21.
Uh-huh.
And Elohim was with the lad, and he grew, and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer.
So this is talking about who? Ishmael. This is Ishmael when he was sent out with his mother. So if he's sent out with his mother, guess who's the head of household? The divorcee. We'll see. Let's take a look and see.
And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran,
Uh-huh.
and his mother took him a wife.
His mother did what?
Took him a wife.
She's the head of the house in that sense. In that special case. Read.
Out of the land of Egypt.
And we saw in the book of Joshua what became of that, right? You read the book of Joshua. Let's go there. Let's read the book of Joshua. Yes, we're going to go there. Book of Joshua, chapter 21. We'll pick it up at verses 13. Let me see if I want to start there. Let's start at verses 16. Okay. 16.
And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarah, and he rose up early in the morning, and he took 12 loaves and a bottle of water, which he gave to Hagar, and sent her away with her son.
Now, you know why Abraham listened to the voice of his wife? Because what? Who told him? Elohim told him to. Elohim was the one who told him to. Read.
And Hagar went with her son to the wilderness, and they dwelt in the wilderness of Paran with the inhabitants of the wilderness. And Ishmael was an archer, and he dwelt in the wilderness a long time. And he and his mother afterward went to the land of Egypt, and they dwelt there. And Hagar took a wife for her son from Egypt, and her name was Meribah.
Uh-huh.
And the wife of Ishmael conceived and bare 4 sons and 2 daughters. And Ishmael and his mother and his wife and children afterward went and returned to the wilderness.
So we can see that that spirit of I run things a certain way, it wasn't, well, let me go back to Abraham and ask him to get a wife for a son. She was the one making the decisions at that time. Let's see what became of that.
Verse 19.
Uh-huh.
And they made themselves tents in the wilderness, in which they dwelt, and they continued to travel and then to rest monthly and yearly.
Mm-hmm.
And Elohim gave Ishmael flocks and herds and tents on account of Abraham.
On who?
On account of Abraham, his
on Abraham's
father.
account. Because of what, brother? Head of household. He blessed Ishmael based upon Abraham's good account. His account was good. Read on.
And the man increased in cattle. And Ishmael dwelt in deserts and in tents, traveling and resting for a long time, and he did not see the face of his father.
I wonder why. Read on.
And in some time after, Abraham said to Sarah, his wife, I will go and see my son Ishmael.
No, may I go and see my son Ishmael?
I will go.
Can I have permission, please, to go see my son?
I will go.
Is it okay with you that I can go see my son Ishmael? Read.
I will go and see my son Ishmael.
I will go. Let me see if I can say it the right way. I will go see my son. Read.
For I have a desire to see him.
I have a desire to see him. Read.
For I have not seen him for a long time.
How many eyes we see so
3.
far? Like the Rasta say, I and I and I and I. Read on.
And Abraham rode upon one of his camels
His camels.
to the wilderness to seek his son Ishmael.
He took his jeep and he went to see his son. Read.
For he heard that he was dwelling in a tent in the wilderness with all belonging to him.
Uh-huh.
And Abraham went to the wilderness, and he reached the tent of Ishmael about noon.
Uh-huh.
And he asked after Ishmael, and he found the wife of Ishmael sitting in the tent with her children, and Ishmael her husband and his mother were not with them.
So the mother was not there with in the tent where she's supposed to be. She was there with governing Ishmael's business. She should have been home teaching the young lady how to operate the house, right? How to take care of your husband, take care of the children, according to what Paul said, right? But she's out there with Ishmael. Read on.
And Abraham asked the wife of Ishmael, saying, where has Ishmael gone?
Uh-huh.
And she said, he has gone to the field to hunt.
So he was in the field hunting. Where was Hagar? Where was Hagar? Read on.
And Abraham was still mounted upon the camel, for he would not get off to the ground, as he had sworn to his wife Sarah that he would not get off from the camel. And Abraham said to Ishmael's wife, my daughter, give me a little water that I may drink, for I am fatigued from the journey.
If you come to a house and you have to be saying these things, instead of these things are said to you, you know there's a problem. First thing that the woman's supposed to do when guests come over is do what? Can I offer you something to drink? Can you get something? Do you feel a little hungry? You may not have anything. Make stone soup. Go out in the backyard, dig up a stone, or make a stone soup or something. Yes, elder, stone soup works. Something. In most cases, you got to dig it out the wife. Honey, can you go do this? Honey, can you? You have to be both the wife and the husband to keep a good face as a head of household. Ahasuerus might as well put on a garment and go and parade himself in front of the men because his wife wasn't doing it. He might as well do that. Switching the role. Switch. Go ahead and read. Continue on.
Verse 27. And Ishmael's wife answered and said to Abraham,
Mm-hmm.
we have neither water nor bread. And she continued sitting in the tent and did not notice Abraham.
See that? She saw the man, an old man come in a desert, hot place. I don't have bread, I don't have water. Well, you don't look hungry to me. You don't look thirsty to me. You must have water around somewhere. And I don't think that this is my son Ishmael. I raised Ishmael better than that. And Hagar's supposed to know because she was Sarah's servant. Okay, read on.
Neither did she ask him who he was.
Uh-huh.
But she was beating her children in the tent.
She wasn't talking to them, she was beating them. You want to know why? That rebellious spirit was already in the children. It was a family of rebellion. Disorder. Mommy was one of disorder. The children come out the same way. Everything is upside down. Read on.
And she was cursing them.
She was what?
Cursing
Mm.
them. And she also cursed her husband Ishmael and reproached him.
And she probably cursed Abraham too. Your daddy no good. You no good. Your children are no good. All generations got cursed. You know how Hebrew women do it. They make sure you feel that sting. They get to the place, they know that soft place, sensitive spot, they go in there and they dig. And they don't only dig, they rub some salt in that thing too. And then leave it there to like you're an animal to be roasted. Season you up really good. Yes, I did say his wife was chosen by Hagar. That's what the Bible says. Genesis said it. Joshua is saying the same thing too. Okay? Let's see what it says. Continue on.
And Abraham heard the words of Ishmael's wife
to
her children, and he was very angry. And
he was happy. He was like a Ahasuerus, happy. He says, let me get off my let me go take care of the little children, man. Could dare. Poor babies. Let me get some milk and let me feed his children. Let me bring some lollipops for my little grandbabies and stuff. Did he do that? No, he didn't. He stayed like a man. He made a promise. He stayed like a man in his Jeep, kept the Jeep running, and just peeped through the window and saw what was happening. Keep it going. Read on.
Move it up a little, please.
29.
And Abraham called to the woman to come out to him from the tent.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman came and stood opposite to Abraham, for Abraham was still mounted upon the camel.
Read.
And Abraham said to Ishmael's wife, when thy husband Ishmael returneth home, say these words to him.
Give him this code word. Read.
A very old man from the land of the Philistines came hither to seek thee.
An old-fashioned guy came.
And thus was his appearance and figure.
He was an old school dude. Read.
I did not ask him who he was.
I didn't.
And seeing thou wast not here, he spoke unto me and said, when Ishmael thy husband returneth, tell him thus did this man say, when thou comest home, put away this nail of the tent which thou hast placed here, and place another nail in its stead. Instead
of the nail, hold the house up, keep order in the house, the nail was like sticking out of the wood in the wrong direction. So every time you're passing by, it digs into your flesh. It's tearing your flesh. You have your nice socks to go out, the nail tears your socks. You have your nice suit, the nail tears it. You have a job, it tears that. No matter what you do, the nail is just tearing away. Even your children, it's tearing at your children. You can't have order. How can you be at two places at the same time? You got to go take care of bringing food to put on the table. Then you got to come home and correct all the damage that this nail is doing in the house. Repair stuff. Who wants to spend their time trying to repair stuff? You can never be successful. You can never have a business if you got two heads. He says, this is what we're going to do, honey. We're going to set this business up. We're going to open this account, blah, 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 blah. No, I don't want to do that. I want to do my own thing. I want to do this instead. I want to do this instead. I want to do that instead. You can never get anywhere. Even with the ministry, the same thing too. Let's be one voice. I have this, I do this thing instead. I want to do this instead. You have confusion. So what did Abraham recommend? What did he say? He says, tell my son when he come back, put away this nail of the tent which you have placed here, and place another nail in its stead. Put another nail there. What do you call that? Divorce. Removing. Replacement. Let's read 32.
And Abraham finished his instructions to the woman, and he turned and went off on the camel homeward.
Took the Jeep and went beep, beep, took off. Read.
And after that, Ishmael came from the chase, he and his mother.
What? He and who?
His mother.
What is his mother doing there at the chase? What is his mama doing out on the chase? That's a man's job. You're supposed to be home helping with the babies and stuff. You out there doing the same thing that your son's supposed to, because Abraham didn't train his daughters to go hunt with bows and stuff. He trained Ishmael to shoot with the bow and the guns or whatever it is. It's not only there for hunting, but it's also for defense. So when the war starts, you think Hagar is going to go out there and fight too? You see, this is the Western society is killing our people. They're all going to find out real soon. I just saw that America just made a woman commander of the army or something like that. And I said to myself, oh, okay, you're going to lose a war pretty soon. It's just a sign, it's the litmus test to let us know what's about to happen. It's the fall. Let's read on. So she came back from the hunt with her son Ishmael and returned to the tent.
And his wife spoke these words to him.
Read.
A very old man from the land of the Philistines came to seek thee.
Mm-hmm.
And thus was his appearance and figure. I did not ask him who he was. And seeing thou was not at home, he said to me, when thy husband cometh home, tell him, thus saith the old man, put away the nail of the tent which thou hast placed here, and place another nail in its stead. And Ishmael heard the words of his wife, and he knew that it was his father.
He knew it was daddy. And did it say that Ishmael disobeyed his father because he loved his wife? That he loved his children? Let's see what the Near Eastern ancient culture was all about. Read.
And that his wife did not honor him.
His wife did not honor him. She running her mouth. She cursing out the children. She even cursing the man when he's not even there. Can you imagine that? In front of people that she would consider to be a stranger. When Abraham's whole thing about him is hospitality, you are the opposite of hospitality. You don't know how to entertain anyone. You're in your corner, locked in your room. You don't even want to come out to do anything. And then you want to be saying that you are the wife? Let's read on.
And Ishmael understood his father's words that he had spoken to his wife. And Ishmael hearkened to the voice of his father. And Ishmael cast off that woman, and she went away.
Mm-hmm.
And Ishmael afterward went to the land of Canaan, and he took another wife, and he brought her to his tent, to the place where he then dwelt.
So he went to the land of Canaan, and he took another wife. Did it say mommy give it to him this time? He was the one who did it.
And look where he got the wife.
Huh? This time he went to Canaan, a little closer to daddy's place, neck of the woods. Okay. Verses 38.
And at the end of 3 years, Abraham said, I will go again and see Ishmael my son.
I'm going to go see my boy. Read.
For I have not seen him for a long time. And he rode upon his camel and went to the wilderness. And he reached the tent of Ishmael about noon. And he asked after Ishmael, and his wife came out of the tent, and she said, he is not here, my lord.
What? What did she call him? What did she call Abraham?
My lord.
She called Abraham her Lord. You see the difference in spirit? She understands rank, authority, respect is given accordingly. Did she know Abraham from any place? But she can call a stranger a person she never met before, her Lord. And you have women who know you for 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, multiply that, elder, years. And they have to go to the dentist to have all their teeth removed because they have to bite their tongue. They don't want to ever call their husband Lord. And if they do it grudging or as a joke or slander. It's not in their heart. And then you want to know why we're upside down. Men don't, a man doesn't want to be aggressive, having to put his foot down on stuff. You can see what happened. Ahasuerus was having fun. He allowed his wife to have fun with her friends and stuff. All he says, honey, can you please come? I'm gonna send the Bentley limousine over to get you. Get dressed, look nice, put on your nice perfume. Come on over. I want to introduce you to all these guys, these guests here. They come from far. We have a feast. We're just having a good time. I want to introduce you to my servants. These are the kings and stuff. No, I'm not gonna do it. Put on that dress? No, I ain't do. Who you think you are? Head start rolling. You ever seen a flock of geese? When the head start doing this, all the others doing the same thing, moving like this. So when she start doing this, all the other ducklings do the same thing too. Following to the swamp. Let's read on. He's not here, my lord.
For he has gone to hunt in the fields
and
to feed the camels. And the woman said to Abraham, turn in, my lord, into the tent.
If you notice, it doesn't say anything about Hagar. This time there's no Hagar mentioned, right? Okay, read.
And eat a morsel of bread, for thy soul must be wearied on account of the journey.
Come inside, my lord, into the tent. Sit down, have something to eat. I know you must be tired. You came in a long, dusty journey. Let's read on.
And Abraham said to her, I will not stop, for I am in haste to continue my journey.
You see, he was the one with the power to say thank you, but no thank you. You understand that? Read on.
But give me a little water to drink, for I have thirst.
I want to see if this water is good water. Read.
And the woman hastened and ran into the tent.
No, she was dragging her feet. She went back on the phone to talk to her girlfriends. What does it say? She hastened and ran into the tent. Read.
And she brought out water and bread to Abraham, which she placed before him, and she urged him to eat.
For you to have bread, somebody have to be baking. For you to have water, somebody got to go into the well and get the water up. Now, the first wife wasn't doing that. She wasn't baking no bread. She wasn't drawing no water. She just cussing. Your mother, your father. Read on.
And he ate and drank, and his heart was comforted, and he blessed his son
Now, you
Ishmael.
notice he says he's not going to eat anything, right? But he still went ahead and eat. He just wanted to see what she's going to do. And he was happy, right? Did it say he was upset? He ate, he drank, he was like comforted, like I can die in peace. I know about Isaac, he's cool. But my boy, I haven't seen him in 3 years. I hope he's all right, He's still my son. He still had love for his son. And even when he died, Ishmael and Isaac came together and made sure, Daddy was taken care of. They didn't have no war. You don't see no wars. Now we have Ishmael trying to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. When they come to America, they say, you can't bring that Near Eastern culture over here. You have to forgive the sodomite. You have to allow the women to go about doing whatever they feel like doing. And if you don't do it, we're not going to allow you to have no weapons of mass destruction and whatever it is. It's craziness. Let's read on. We're almost done. We're going to come back next week, most high willing. If we have a class next week to come back to. It may not be a class next week. Let's read. Let's see.
Verse 42.
Uh-huh.
And he finished his meal, and he blessed Yahuwah. And he said to Ishmael's wife,
Uh-huh.
when Ishmael cometh home, say these words to him. A very old man from the land of the Philistines came hither and asked after thee, and thou wast not here. And I brought him out bread and water, and he ate and drank, and his heart was comforted. And he spake these words to me, when Ishmael thy husband cometh home, say unto him,
Mm-hmm.
the nail of the tent which thou hast is very good.
Is what?
Is very good.
Not just good, elder. He says it was very good. That's a big difference. Very good. Remember, it was 3 years after he came to see if the world was refreshed again. It was very good. I mean, you happy. The guy can go out and hunt, come back home, got water, he got bread cooked, baked. The children is not cussing me when I come home. Daddy, you're a monkey, so and so. Daddy's a monkey. Where did you hear that? Mommy's calling you that all day. You don't have to hear that stuff. Come on, children, come on. Look what I got for you. Here's some shish kebabs. Here's some, Read on.
Which thou hast is very good. Do
Uh-huh.
not put it away from the tent.
The nail of the tent which you have is very good. Do not put it away from the house. He didn't say it to the wife. He said to the son, got the message. It was a directive. And guess what? Abraham still ruled his house, even when his children were not, his child Ishmael was not there. He still had control. His words were still effective. So let me ask this question. Who's in charge of your house? Who's directing? Who's pulling the strings in your house? Huh? Who's the one in charge? The Bible says a man who finds a wife has found a good thing. But the mere definition of that word wife is supposed to be defined by being good to begin with. So if she's not good, she doesn't keep the Torah, she's not a wife, she's just a woman. But everybody's believing that the word wife means it's all safe, it's good. No. No. Let's go back to
Verse 45.
let's go back to our slides. Okay. Let's go back to our slides. We're going to wrap it up, family. We'll come back, Most High willing. Can you read for me, please?
In theory, women had the legal capacity to own property,
Uh-huh.
make contracts, litigate, and give evidence in court. In practice, they were restricted in these activities by their status as daughter or wife.
So in theory, women had legal capacity to own property. We will see what that is all about. Legal capacity to own property, make contracts, litigate, and give evidence in court. In practice, they were restricted in these activities by their status as daughter or wife. You see? So it's letting us know that even though there were certain things, it was based on other things. Okay? Read on.
Married women did act on their own account, but more frequently together with or on behalf of their husbands.
And when we go into the subject of oaths, you'll understand how powerful that particular part of the Torah really is. Where the power really lies. Because an oath is a contract that you're making before the creator of the world, of the earth, right? Read on.
Examples of independent action tend to be confined to widows, divorcees, or members of the few professions open to women: priestess, prostitute, wet nurse, or taverners.
Now, if you notice that the criteria is independent action tend to be confined to whom? Widows are special cases. Divorcees is not a special case where they can have to act on their own and make choices on their own or whatever it is. or members of few professions open to women. A priestess, that means that you are receiving some kind of an income. It's the monies that's coming in to the temple as a priestess, things that are given to you, or a prostitute if you are getting an income by other means. A wet nurse because you are using your ability to produce milk for other people who cannot produce milk, or taverseness, like I guess a bartender or something. I think that's what it is. Anyway, let's look at an example. Genesis chapter 16, 1-6. Excuse me 1 second. I'll be right back. Just read for me. Read real slow.
Genesis chapter 16, verses 1-6 reads, Now Sarah, Abraham's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abram, Behold now, Jehovah have restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah. And Sarah, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarah said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Yea, judge between me and thee. But Abram said unto Sarah, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarah dwelt hardly with her, she fled from her face.
So as we can see here, Hagar was owned by whom? And that's the question. And what we can see that Sarah basically owned Hagar as property. We can see that when Sarah basically gave Hagar to bring forth child for Abraham.
Absolutely, brother. As you all can see, family, Sarai had the authority over, the power over her own possessions. Even though the whole house itself belongs to Abraham, the wife had limited authority over the maids and certain things. Okay, this is how it was done in ancient Near Eastern culture. Sarai, Abraham's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. She says, Go in unto my maid, it may be that I may obtain children by her. This is a contract that was made between Sarai and Hagar. Okay, this is a, as we go back here, let's see, actioned. In theory, women had the legal capacity to own property, make contracts, litigate. So this is a contract, okay, between this maid and her mistress. And it says that Sarai gave her to her husband, Abraham, to be his wife. Okay, now as we read in the last one, verses 6, it says, when the problem came up, what did Sarah do? First thing that she did was went to Abraham and bring the problem to Abraham and says, well, this problem, let me read that. Read it again for me, verses 5.
And Sarah said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee.
So she's the one in the power to control the situation. But now she wanted to turn it over to Abraham to resolve it. Okay? Read on.
I have given my maid into thy bosom.
Mm-hmm.
And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Yah judge between me and thee.
What did Abraham say?
But Abraham said unto Sarah, Behold, thy maid is in thine hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee.
The maid is in your hand. You have a contract. You have the authority over her. You do as it pleases you. So the power is with Abraham, but she also has some limited, powers within the household. This is how it was done in the old times, Mishpachah. And this is why the Bible is hated so much, because it's still holding on to a society that Western civilization hates so much. Let's move on to our next slide. We're going to wrap it up in a moment. Okay, go ahead and read. This is Genesis 38. We're going to read 13 to verses 15. So now we're going to see examples of an independent action which tend to be confined to widows, divorcees, or members of the few professions open to women, which are priestesses and what? Prostitutes. Okay? Let's see what the book says.
And it was told Tamar, saying, Behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnah to shear his sheep.
Uh-huh.
And she put her widow's garments off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife.
So who is the one running the show here? Because remember, when you go back and read the story, she was married to Judah's son, and he got killed because he was wicked. Remember, his mother was a Canaanite. Then the other son that was given to raise up seed in behalf of the first son that was killed, he got killed too. And just sons keep dying. And Judah was saying, listen, man, I only got one boy left. I'm not going to risk it, to lose this one. So he sent this woman. He was the one who had the power still. Because as long as a son is alive, the law of the land is seed have to be raised up. I don't care how many sons pass through. Somebody got to raise up a child here to keep this lineage of Judah going. Okay? They could have said, well, you got Levi, you got Reuben, Naphtali. Why, Judah, just forget about trying to raise up seed for you. That is a kind of mindset that we will find today. So you have to drive your vehicle off the cliff because the woman doesn't want you to have any children. She would decide, if I can't have any children, you're not going to have any children too. So we are going to put our foot to the pedal. And if you try to jump through the door to escape to say, well, I'm going to save my life, she's going to say, where are you going? Don't you love me too? Don't you love me also? So you can't have any children because she can't have any children. But the law is, it's all about preserving the seed. So what happened? He held back his last son. She knew the law. She kept her widow garments on because she was waiting for the next child to be of age so she can be able to have a child by him. But it didn't happen that way. So let's read on, verses 15.
When Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot.
So when he saw the way she was covered. In Near Eastern culture, she looked like a prostitute. Read.
Because she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law.
Uh-huh.
And she said, What wilt thou give me?
This is a transaction now. In order for you to come in, read on.
What wilt thou give me, that thou mayest come in unto me?
There's always a transaction that happens before the intercourse takes place. There must be some kind of a transaction. And this is why our women have to hold themselves at a higher level, value, and don't regard themselves as a copper coin, just something easy to be picked up in any street. Okay? He says, what will you give me that you may come in unto me? Something must be in exchange. This is a business transaction. So a prostitute can do these things. Okay? She's not going to let the guy come in like that. He must put something on the table. Verse 17.
And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock.
I'm going to send you an animal which is priced at so-and-so value. Read.
And she said, will thou give me a pledge till thou send it?
Will you put down a deposit until I receive this kid from the flock? Because you're here with me now. I can't do this thing and there's no, I need something to hold until I get the kid. Read on.
And he said, what pledge shall I give thee?
Uh-huh.
And she said, thy signet,
your seal,
and thy bracelet,
uh-huh,
and thy staff that is in thine hand.
and the earrings in your ears. No, family. Your signet, that's your seal, your sign of authority. I need that from you. I need your bracelet. I also need your staff that is in your hand. Why is that? That's the seed, that's the thing of authority. The rod, the scepter. Esther could not come unless what? The scepter was what, Duchamoel? Raised. Okay, when you see the staff raised, you know it's time for you that you can come. For you all adults, you all know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's read on.
And he gave it her, and came in unto her, and she conceived by him.
So he gave it to her. That was a transaction. So they knew that in Near Eastern culture, the ones who had the authority to act on their own were normally priestess and prostitutes, people like that. But as long as there was a male head, or widows or divorcees that have the monies to act on their own, because it was all about having the wealth to be able to maintain things on your own. Okay? Let's look at another example, and then we're gonna let me see. Is this it? Yes. Let's look at this one. Read this for me, please.
The one area of law from which women appear to have been excluded on principle was the public sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Women are almost entirely absent from public office.
Women are almost entirely absent from what? Public office. Read.
The only public positions reserved for women were queen, queen mother, and priestess. With rare exceptions, women are not found as witnesses to contracts.
See that? They were excluded from these legal, very high, important situations. But let's look at one more reading from the scriptures. We're going to read these two, and then we're going to shut it down, okay? Go ahead and read. Book of Judges, chapter 4, verses 1, and then we'll skip on down to 4 and verses 5.
Judges chapter 4, verses 1 and 4 and 5.
The only public positions reserved for women were queen, queen mother, and priestesses. So let's see.
And the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of Yah.
They did good. Israel was doing evil. So let's see what was the result of the men not doing what they were supposed to do. Let's see what the results was. Go ahead.
When Ehud was dead.
Verses 4.
And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, she judged Israel at that time.
So therefore she had to stand up because the men were not doing what was right. When you have a failure, a breakdown in the order, the head of households, everything is going to go upside down. So now this is a time you find a lot of wars among Israel. Israelites fighting Israelites in the book of Judges. Read on.
And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel
Uh-huh.
in Mount of Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment.
Because at that time the conditions was ripe for her to come up because of the wickedness that was happening amongst Israel. Let's look at another example of when things went wrong with Israel.
1 Kings chapter 2, verse 19.
Uh-huh.
Bathsheba therefore went unto King Solomon to speak unto him for Adonijah. And the king rose up to meet her and bowed himself unto her and sat down on his throne and caused a seat to be set for the king's mother, and she sat on his right hand.
So again, the only public positions reserved for women were queen mother, and priestess. And we can see that as evident in the scriptures, in the Bible. So these are the things that we see historically. The other people are bringing it up. What they're doing with this book is looking at Mesopotamia, Babylon, Iraq, Persia, Egypt, all of these regions, and seeing how things was done among these peoples. And they're giving an account, 3,000 years of history, 22 scholars. And this is what they come up with. When we have the Bible that's already telling us what to do, a book costing $400 and some for one book. One book. And we have a Bible that tells us how the house is supposed to be ordered, and we have a problem with it. We don't like it so much. Yes, Brother Benjamin, also India, parts of it. But as you travel past India, you find, because a lot of these laws are still valid today in India. The dowry, for the bride, and all these different things are still in effect today. Okay. So we're going to stop here, Mishpachah, and we'll continue, most high willing, next week. Where's my little pens? It just disappeared on me. We'll continue. Oh, here it is. Next week, most high willing. We're going to see many more things in the scriptures. I hope that this is making sense to you all, and don't tell me that the Rebbe's on fire again. No, I'm just trying to get our people to understand things in order. Whether you like it or not, it is what it is. Whether you don't want to accept it now, the Most High knows your heart. It is His laws. It is His structure that He laid down from the very beginning. If I was made a slave, a servant, or a wife, or whatever order that I was made, I have to fulfill that accordingly. Okay? So let me go back to the beginning. And Mishpachah, once again, head of household, understanding biblical Near Eastern culture according to history and scripture. I hope that this has been a blessing to you all. And next week, Most High willing, we will continue according to the strength that the Most High will give us. And then we will go into, after we've covered this and extracted what we need, we will go into the aspects of divorce, okay, from the Near Eastern and what the scriptures have to say. Once you read these things, you will understand how everything was done back in the old days, where we have some of the things today, and we can also see the madness of what is happening with our society, the decay, and now you have so-called same-sex marriage. That is not marriage. You don't have two keys don't open anything. Two locks don't open anything. There must be a lock and there must be a key. Is that correct, Elder? Two male pipes doesn't cause the water to flow. You must have a female and a male pipe. Doesn't how it works? I don't know. I mean, I don't understand what's going on. It's just crazy. Anyway, let us close up with prayer. I'm grateful to our Elohim that He has blessed us today. I hope everyone has received this word well in your hearts. Remember to pray for the whole house of Israel, all the families, and please remember to pray for me. And for those who have been very supportive, prayers and otherwise, I want to say Todah Rabbah. May the Most High bless you and your family also. And I pray that we continue to walk this road to Zion. We'll ask Dod Shemuel if you can close out with the final prayer. And then we will say shalom until our Friday night class, Most High willing. So let's all face towards Jerusalem.
We thank thee at this moment, O Heavenly Elohim. We thank you for this privilege where we could come in once again in your presence to offer praise and thanks to thee. We thank thee for the spiritual food. We ask you to bless our hearts and those who participate in listening to your words, that they will make their calling and election sure. Bless the offering and provide for those who do not have, that they will too may give unto thee. I also ask you to bless again each and every one of us, have us to walk in the presence of righteousness, so that when thou shalt come with the angels, we all will have a place within your kingdom. This I do ask in your wonderful name I pray. Let the words of our mouth, the
meditation of our hearts be accepted in your sight.
Yeah, our strength and redeemer.
In Jesus' name, amen. Ella, you want to sound the shofar? All right. So Mishpachah, once again, love you all. Stay strong, stay sharp. May the Most High be with you all. Enjoy the rest of the Shabbat and continue to stay on the road to Zion. Elder? Hallelujah. All praises to our King. Thank you, Elder. All right, family, love you all. Stay strong, stay sharp. May the Most High be with you all. Until next time, we say shalom, shalom.